There we go. Thank you. If Saraswati Mataji doesn't want to lead, I will. But then I will be incommunicado. I'll take that as encouragement. Give me a moment, please.
I can do the kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtotara Satashri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So welcome everyone for Srimad Bhagavatam class with Jayadvaita Swami and friends. Maybe Maharaj will show up tonight, we're not sure, but glad that so many of his friends are here. It's Monday, October 16th, 2023. And we're reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 25th chapter, tonight starting with text number 9. As always, very much eager to hear your readings and commentary, and Hare Krishna. So anyone may begin with text number 9 whenever you're ready.
Okay, I will read. Ya adyo Bhagavan Pumsam Ishvaro Vaibhavan Kila Lokasya Tamasandasya Chakshu Surya Evodita. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin and Supreme Lord of all living entities. You have arisen to disseminate the rays of the sun in order to dissipate the darkness of the ignorance of the universe. Purport. Kapila Muni is accepted as an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Here the word Adya means the origin of all living entities, and Pumsam Ishvara means the Lord Ishvara of the living entities, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Kapila Muni is the direct expansion of Krishna, who is the sun of spiritual knowledge. As the sun dissipates the darkness of the universe, so when the light of the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes down, it at once dissipates the darkness of Maya. We have our eyes, but without the light of the sun, our eyes are of no value. Similarly, without the light of the Supreme Lord, or without the divine grace of the spiritual master, one cannot see things as they are. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Umilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So this verse reminds me exactly of what I just recited, that the spiritual master opens our darkened eyes with a torchlight of knowledge, and Kapila Muni is accepted as an incarnation of Krishna, and here he's going to disseminate spiritual knowledge to his mother Devahuti and act as her spiritual master. I don't know if anyone else has something to say about this verse. Oh, Saraswati Mataji has a hand raised. Great.
Pranams to everyone. So Devahuti states that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the origin of all living entities. So even though outwardly she is the birth mother of Kapila Muni, she still recognizes that Kapila Muni, an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the absolute origin of all living entities in truth. We see a bit of a role reversal here from the norm, where generally the parent is the Pratham Guru for their children. But here a mother is submitting to her son for transcendental knowledge in the position of a disciple. So she's revealing the reason for the appearance of Kapila Muni to disseminate transcendental knowledge, namely to revive Sankhya philosophy. We see in many instances where transcendental knowledge is revived, propounded, spoken by Krishna or his incarnation, it is to an audience consisting of devotees. And for example, in the Bhagavad Gita, that's spoken to Arjuna, the Vedas to Brahma, and here the Sankhya philosophy to Devahuti. And then subsequently the knowledge is spread in the universe by devotees. Sometimes we see the devotees who are receiving this knowledge are put in so-called ignorance by Yoga Maya, so they're not really a conditional soul. Like Arjuna, he was put into this state, and even Brahma. So I'm thinking maybe Devahuti also, because I can't imagine a conditional soul in the grips of Maya, giving birth to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And also it's said the material universe is full of darkness because its inhabitants, the conditional souls, are living in perpetual darkness of ignorance because they've accepted illusion as a reality. So their entire foundation upon which they build their lives is full of illusion, so it's faulty, volatile, unstable. So even if we have material eyes which cannot function in the absence of light, even if there is the presence of material sunlight, our entire vision and perception still stems from illusion. So until the light of transcendental knowledge is imparted by Krishna or his devotees, this simply no value in our looking or seeing. It's only with their light of knowledge that they can lift the dark curtain of Maya to reveal what is actually real and what is an illusion. Haribol.
Yes, Jai, Jai, Jai. Thank you for that. As I was hearing the purport, I was considering, I've been listening to Sariputta Prabhu speaking on virtual reality as an analogy for understanding Maya, and how in this material existence, everything is darkness. It's designed that way. It's meant for living beings who've turned their face from Krishna, turned from the light. So what they get is this very complicated darkness that looks like it's lit up, but the only actual light, as we're hearing, comes from the spiritual master, the incarnations of Godhead that really enable us to see what's going on. Otherwise, we're just totally caught up in this illusion. It's like, the television. It's a source of light, but most of the time, unless it's turned on, it's just a machine. And similarly, the material world is just a machine. Material body is just another machine. Without knowing the purpose of it, how it got here, it's really of no value except illusory value. Hare Krishna. So if there are no more comments for this, Saraswati Mata has volunteered to read number 11. I'm sorry, 10.
Text 10. Atha me deva samoham apakrashtum tvam arhasi yovagraho hammametiti atesmin yojitastvaya. Translation. Now be pleased, my Lord, to dispel my great delusion. Due to my feelings of false ego, I have been engaged by your Maya and have identified myself with the body and consequent bodily relations. Purport. The false ego of identifying one's body as oneself and of claiming things possessed in relationship with this body is called Maya. In Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, the Lord says, I am sitting in everyone's heart, and from me come everyone's remembrance and forgetfulness. Devahuti has stated that false identification of the body with the self and attachment for possessions in relation to the body are also under the direction of the Lord. Does this mean that the Lord discriminates by engaging one in his devotional service and another in sense gratification? If that were true, it would be an incongruity on the part of the Supreme Lord, but that is not the actual fact. As soon as the living entity forgets his real constitutional position of eternal servitorship to the Lord and wants instead to enjoy himself by sense gratification, he is captured by Maya. This capture by Maya is the consciousness of false identification with the body and attachment for the possessions of the body. These are the activities of Maya, and since Maya is also an agent of the Lord, it is indirectly the action of the Lord. The Lord is merciful. If anyone wants to forget him and enjoy this material world, he gives him full facility, not directly, but through the agency of his marginal potency. Therefore, since the marginal potency is the Lord's energy, indirectly it is the Lord who gives the facility to forget him. Devahuti therefore says, my engagement in sense gratification was also due to you. Now kindly get me free from this entanglement. By the grace of the Lord, one is allowed to enjoy this material world, but when one is disgusted with material enjoyment and is frustrated, and when one sincerely surrenders onto the lotus feet of the Lord, then the Lord is so kind that he frees one from entanglement. Krishna says therefore in Bhagavad Gita, first of all surrender, and then I will take charge of you and free you from all reactions of sinful activities. Sinful activities are those activities performed in forgetfulness of our relationship with the Lord. In this material world, activities for material enjoyment, which are considered to be pious, are also sinful. For example, one sometimes gives something in charity to a needy person with the view to getting back the money 4 times increased. Giving with the purpose of gaining something is called charity in the mode of passion. Everything done here is done in the modes of material nature, and therefore all activities but service to the Lord are sinful. Because of sinful activities, we have become attracted by the illusion of material attachment, and we think I am this body, I think of the body as myself, and of bodily possessions as mine. Devahuti requested Lord Kapila to free her from the entanglement of false identification and false possession. So the long-term association of conditional souls with material things like the body, bodily relations, and possessions, it's cast a seemingly unbreakable spell of Maya, especially the subtle senses, mind, intelligence, and false ego, have imprisoned the conditional soul to such a degree that the soul is completely oblivious of its perilous entrapment. It's really an ingenious trap where the captive feels completely happy and free to chart the course of their life and enjoy an independence that is unchallenged. And they don't realize that they're actually following the dictates of the subtle mind, which is really the result of their aberrant desires to become masters. Devahuti, she admits that it is due to these deviant desires and false ego that has kept us trapped in our doomed quest for ananda, happiness. It is the nature of jivas, the marginal energy, to want to be happy, to want to be eternal, and to want to be full of energy, full of knowledge, like Krishna. And yet they've accepted this illusion of happiness. In Bhagavad Gita it says, Yehi samspara jabhoga dukha yo naya evati adi antavanta kunteya nateshu ramate buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with the material senses, O son of Kunti. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end, so the wise man does not delight in them. So Devahuti is completely disgusted with this low-grade temporary happiness, and she understands that it's service to Maya under the modes of material nature, but it's still taking place due to the authorization of Krishna. After all, nothing can take place without the will of the Lord. So if a soul desires an existence, pursuing a life that is entirely disconnected from the service of Krishna, then they are automatically placed under the jurisdiction of the external energy, Maya. But all of that's done with the permission of Krishna. And yet, Krishna is forever our well-wishing friend. Surdam sarva bhutanam. So he is ready to offer all help to become free from the bondage of Maya and restore us to our original position as servitor of Krishna. And he offers us his counsel. He tells us to surrender to him, to take shelter of him without duplicity. We find that a child leaves everything to the parent for their entire well-being. So although Deva is the apparent parent, she is asking her child Kapila Muni to take complete charge of her. She's stating that it's due to the influence of Maya that she's identifying herself with the bodily and bodily relationship, which if we look at it on the one hand, she has the Lord as her son, but yet she is still saying that under the influence of that's still under the influence, possibly, even if you're identifying yourself even slightly with the bodily concept of life, then you're still under the grips of Maya. and therefore our entire perception is marred with varying degrees of ignorance. So even if she has given birth to Kapila Muni, and she's claiming she's identifying herself with bodily relations, she's still saying that even if you have the Lord as your child, if you are in any way, even to a small degree, identifying yourself in the bodily concept of life, then that entire perception is marred and you're still in the grips of Maya. And it's only by bhakti that all traces and influence of Maya can be completely removed. So these are some of my thoughts. Haribol.
Ekendra Prabhu has a comment also. Does this mean that the Lord discriminates by engaging one in his devotional service and another in sense gratification? If that were true, it would be an incongruity on the part of the Supreme Lord, but that is not the actual fact. Krishna says, Yayatamam prapadyante. He reciprocates according to our mentality. It's not that some souls are whimsically and unreasonably situated in Maya. Does anyone else have anything to say? Or should we go to the next verse? Who would like to read? Dana Mataji, would you like to read the next verse?
I'm actually unable to at the moment, but I may be able to in a little bit.
Okay, sure. Vijay Krishna Prabhu, would you like to read the next verse?
Yes, Surabhi Mataji, I would like to read the next verse. May I?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. You're most kind. Tam tva gataham sharanam sharanyam tva pritya samsara taro kutharam jigyasayaham prakrite purushasya namami sadharma vidam varishtham. Translation. Devahuti continued, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you are the only person of whom to take shelter. You are the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. I, therefore, offer my obeisances unto you, who are the greatest of all transcendentalists. And I inquire from you as to the relationship between man and woman and between spirit and matter. Purport. Sankhya philosophy, as is well known, deals with Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or anyone who imitates the Supreme Personality of Godhead as an enjoyer. And Prakriti means, quote, nature, unquote. In this material world, material nature is being exploited by the Purushas, or the living entities. The intricacies in the material world of the relationship of the Prakriti and Purusha, or the enjoyed and the enjoyer, is called samsara, or material entanglement. Devahuti wanted to cut the tree of material entanglement, and she found the suitable weapon in Kapila Muni. The tree of material existence is explained in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita as an Ashvata tree, whose root is upwards and whose branches are downwards. It is recommended there that one has to cut the root of this material existential tree with the axe of detachment. What is the attachment? The attachment involves Prakriti and Purusha. The living entities are trying to lord it over material nature. Since the conditioned soul takes material nature to be the object of his enjoyment, and he takes the position of the enjoyer, he is therefore called Purusha. Devahuti questioned Kapila Muni, for she knew that only he could cut her attachment to this material world. The living entities, in the guises of men and women, are trying to enjoy the material energy. Therefore, in one sense, everyone is Purusha, because Purusha means, quote, enjoyer, unquote. And Prakriti means, quote, enjoyed, unquote. In this material world, both the so-called man and so-called woman are imitating the real Purusha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the enjoyer in the transcendental sense, whereas all others are Prakriti. The living entities are considered Prakriti. In Bhagavad Gita, matter is analyzed as apara, or inferior nature, whereas beyond this inferior nature, there is another superior nature, the living entities. Living entities are also Prakriti, or enjoyed, but under the spell of Maya, the living entities are falsely trying to take the position of enjoyers. That is the cause of samsara bandha, or conditional life. Devahuti wanted to get out of conditional life and place herself in full surrender. The Lord is Sharanya, which means, quote, the only worthy personality to whom one can fully surrender, unquote, because he is full of all opulences. If anyone actually wants relief, the best course is to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is also described here as Sadharma Vidam Varishtham. This indicates that of all transcendental occupations, the best occupation is eternal loving service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharma is sometimes translated as, quote, religion, unquote. But that is not exactly the meaning. Dharma actually means, quote, that which one cannot give up, that which is inseparable from oneself, unquote. The warmth of fire is inseparable from fire. Therefore, warmth is called the dharma, or nature of fire. Similarly, sadharma means, quote, eternal occupation, unquote. That eternal occupation is engagement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The purpose of Kapila Deva's Sankhya philosophy is to propagate pure, uncontaminated devotional service And therefore, he is addressed here as the most important personality amongst those who know the transcendental occupation of the living entity.
Prabhu, do you have any comments about the verse?
Yes, I'm trying to find a sentence in the purport which I loved a lot. Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that Devahuti, yes, I found it in the second paragraph, more or less at the middle. Quote, Devahuti wanted to get out of conditional life and place herself in full surrender, unquote. So my very brief comment based on this quote is that the opposite of conditional life is full surrender. And why would we wish for getting out of conditional life? Because conditional life is the same as continuous suffering. And because of our essential nature, because we are pleasure seekers, we have nothing to do with suffering by the second, which is provided by what conditional life is. If you choose conditional life, then you will suffer by the second incessantly. Even when you're thinking that you're being happy and experiencing pleasure, because it is material pleasure and because it is material pleasure, it is temporary, it will make you suffer. We are meant for eternal pleasure. We are by nature, because we are spiritual souls, seekers of pleasure which is eternal. And the only way for us to get out of enjoying temporary pleasure is submitting ourselves to the process of full surrender. That is my comment for today. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Does anyone else have a comment, or should we move on to the next verse? Okay, Dana Mataji, are you available to read the next verse?
Not quite yet. Almost there.
Okay. Okay. Who wants to read? Murari Gupta Prabhu? Or Damodar Priya Mataji? Okay, I will read the next verse. Maitreya Uvacha Iti Svamatur Niravadyam Ipsitam Nishamya Pumsam Apavargavardhanam Diya Binandyatmavatam Satam Gatir Babasa Isat Smita Shobitana Na. Maitreya said, after hearing of his mother's uncontaminated desire for transcendental realization, the Lord thanked her within himself for her questions, and thus, his face smiling, he explained the path of the transcendentalists who are interested in self-realization. Purport. Devahuti has surrendered her confession of material entanglement and her desire to gain release. Her questions to Lord Kapila are very interesting for persons who are actually trying to get liberation from material entanglement and attain the perfectional stage of human life. Unless one is interested in understanding his spiritual life or his constitutional position, and unless he also feels inconvenience in material existence, his human form of life is spoiled. One who does not care for these transcendental necessities of life and simply engages like an animal in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating has spoiled his life. Lord Kapila was very much satisfied by his mother's questions because the answers stimulate one's desire for liberation from the conditional life of material existence. Such questions are called apavarga vardhanam. Those who have actual spiritual interest are called sat or devotees. Satam prasangat. Sat means that which eternally exists, and asat means that which is not eternal. Unless one is situated on the spiritual platform, he is not sat, he is asat. The asat stands on a platform which will not exist, but anyone who stands on the spiritual platform will exist eternally. As spirit soul, everyone exists eternally, but the asat has accepted the material world as his shelter, and therefore he is full of anxiety. Asat grahan, the incompatible situation of the spirit soul who has the false idea of enjoying matter, is the cause of the soul's being asat. Actually, the spirit soul is not asat. As soon as one is conscious of this fact and takes to Krishna consciousness, he becomes sat. Satam gati, the path of the eternal, is very interesting to persons who are after liberation. And his lordship Kapila began to speak about that path. So, does anyone have anything to say about this verse? I feel like Prabhupada is just expressing again and again in the purport about the purpose of spiritual inquiry and the uselessness of just engaging in animal propensities of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And it comes up in many places in Srimad Bhagavatam and in all Prabhupada's books about how important it is for us to inquire about who we actually are and what's the purpose of life and how do we get out of this material world. And so Lord Kapila is very grateful for his mother's questions, as is anyone who, any spiritual master. They're always eager for questions and actually getting an audience who are actually interested makes the speaker more enlivened to share realizations. I see Akendra Prabhu has some comments. Unless he also feels inconvenience in material existence, his human form of life is spoiled. That's a nice qualification, to feel inconvenienced. Without feeling inconvenienced, why look for a solution? So it's a blessing when we feel inconvenienced. Yes. It's like how Queen Kunti prays for inconveniences so that she can surrender to Krishna more and more. And she says, anyone who's not exhausted by like material enjoyment can't approach Krishna with sincere feeling. So it is important to be like materially exhausted or just tired and understanding the inconvenience of material life. Saraswati Mataji has a hand raised. Great.
It's so important that we realize that this human form of life, as I was saying previously, is rarely achieved, and to squander that opportunity that's so rare, so unique, it's really a tragedy. And especially in this age, the golden age of Kali Yuga, where we have been given so much help. And after receiving the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has made things so much easier than in the previous yugas. And he's offering something that's never been offered in any of the yugas, this Krishna Prema. Krishna hides this gift to give Krishna Prema to anyone. He hides it. He's very reluctant, but as he descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most merciful of all incarnations, he has made it so easily accessible. He has spread and he's giving the treasure of Krishna Prema indiscriminately. Anyone, anywhere. Whether you're fit, you're unfit, you're completely conditioned, you're partially conditioned, you're in this mode or that mode, it doesn't matter. He has made it so easily accessible by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. You can get Krishna Prema. It's as simple as that. There are no tricks. There is nothing that can really stop you if you take up the practice of chanting Hare Krishna. If in the beginning you're doing it with offenses, you continue until you get to a point where you develop an attachment to the chanting. And gradually, as you continue and you persevere, you will get to that point. He has made it quite clear that you will get to that point. So I feel all of us are so fortunate, and anyone in this time, if they can take advantage of this mercy, rarely achieved. Even as I said in the previous yugas, it was not given. Krishna Prema was not just given like that. So really, I think just be really thankful. Worship Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu within your heart and just chant Hare Krishna. Haribol.
Thank you so much for those comments, Saraswati Mataji.
Madhusravi,
Yes,
I have a question.
great.
Because you recited text 12, and I would like to know again, why did he smile? Yes, he thanked her within himself for her questions, and he even went for smiling. And you did give the answer to the question I am going to offer to you, but I would like to hear it again. What is the reason for a transcendentalist to give thanks for the questions which are offered to him, even in a smiling way? I think you gave the answer, but I would like to hear it again, please.
Okay. I don't know. My answer was that anyone who is like preaching Krishna consciousness is very happy with inquiries from the audience.
What is the reason
because
for
it
this
gives
happiness?
It gives them the opportunity to recite the glories of the Lord or Krishna conscious philosophy. So it makes both the hearer and the speaker very happy. That's just like my speculation.
like engage the opportunity for becoming engaged in service.
Yes.
Yes.
It
Yes.
yes, it makes the speaker happy too.
Yes, because whenever we are engaged in service to the Lord, we cannot escape from becoming happy.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, yes. Bhakti yoga is a joyful process to be practiced. It is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna himself. It is joyfully performed. Thank you very much for your answer.
Thank you for the question.
You're
Ekendra
welcome.
Prabhu says, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti says in his commentary to text 12, Apagvargavardhana means increasing liberation or cutting out material life. Atmavatam means of those take to Lord Kapila as the object of service. Satam means of the devotees. Kapila smiled, "You are the mother of me, the Supreme Lord. How can you be in Maya? Anyway, I will teach something to deliver the common people through teaching you." Oh, so that's that's probably the correct answer to why did he smile? Because it's like, it's bewildering. You are the mother of me, the Supreme Lord. How can you be in Maya? So, yeah, that's a nice point. Thank you, Ekendra Prabhu.
Yes, that is an answer specifically directed towards the specific case related to the relationship between Devahuti and the Lord as her son. Yes. But the answer you gave, Mother Surabhi, was very correct to the answer I asked. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay Krishna Prabhu.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have anything to say, or should we have kirtan? Who would like to lead kirtan? Krishna Konteya Prabhu?
Yes, I will. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Srila Gopinath, Jai Om Vishnu Pad Brahmsa, Parivajakacarya, Astottara Sata, Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Brahmsa, Parivajakacarya, Astottara Sata, Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shilharidas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Ho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. His compounder Acharya, Savior of the world, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem Se Ho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radha Kundiri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Dhama Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Dhama Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dhama Ki Jai. Gangamai Munamai Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Jai Sri Guru and Guranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Thank you so much, Krishna Kanteya Prabhu, and thank you, Surabhi Kunj Mataji, for keeping the flow going, and thank you all for participating, hearing, commenting, speaking. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai,
Jai,
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai,
Jai,
Jayadvaita Swami's friends Ki Jai,
Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.